Hello, we are Sornia. We are delighted to have this opportunity to share some of our observations and hopefully give you some further guidance. Although we're here saying who's guiding whom, you are giving us quite a bit of information on the experience of freeing yourselves the way you are from your entrapment, as you might say, or you call it ascension. We want to remind you, please remember that you are already that which you think you need to strive to be. You are already that expanded being. See, this falsehood that you have to go through experiences in order to become more enlightened is, in essence, a falsehood. And we'll remind you of that because it keeps you into that mentality of you need to do something, you need to suffer, you need to have difficulties in order to be compassionate. You are compassionate in order to be enlightened. You already are enlightened. You already are all of those beautiful things, I guess, that you think you have to go through human experience in order to be. See, this was another creation of that force that works through humanity, works through also other characters on your planet, that works through them in order to distract and fool and manipulate humanity into believing that you are not good enough. And that's absolutely false. You're good enough just the way it is. And we're talking about both as a human being and as a spiritual being. What you are doing here is remembering. And then as you remember more and more your true nature, you expand some more. And you expand some more. So you may say, well, why do we keep coming to Earth then? Why do we choose these difficult experiences? For the experience, for what it can show you of what you are capable of. So think about that. Think about that and give that some real thought and feeling and remembering. Because remembering who you are is really what this is all about, Do you know that another species you have outside of Earth, many other species, and most of you already know this, but we're going to talk about humanity. Humanity has done this before, many times. There have been, well, most of you know about the Great Floods, right? The Great Floods was a way of basically wiping the slate clean. And again, you are only allowed to know what will serve to keep you in a vibrational state. So a lower vibrational state. You are only allowed to know those things, or have been in the past. That's, of course, changing. And you see it. So what are we saying here? This is important for you to remember. That your souls are infinite and eternal. You are experiencing your expanded nature more and more, both in your human form and outside of your human form. We've talked about that. When you go into a sleep state, you're often about in the various parts of the cosmos. So all of that is, some of you have done before, some of you haven't. The majority have not, because there are constantly new souls, if you will, or new energies or new essences coming through and wanting this experience. It starts off with the desire to have this experience. So when there's a new creation that is formed, it has a choice. So way back when you consider yourselves individuals, but you're more part of Source, right? So way back when you are created, way, way, way back, you have a choice, kind of what you want to do. There's always choice. There's always free will. Think about it as always choice. Free will is tossed around and people don't always understand it truly. But choice, you understand. You have a choice. At that time that your essence decides to have a cosmic experience, that you come from Source, you choose where you want to go, what you want to do. So initially, and again, we're simplifying it. It isn't literal when we talk about how you choose this as a soul, but just kind of keep that in mind, because we need to narrow it down and limit it for what you are capable of understanding while in human form. So you kind of have options. So when new souls are created, new essences are formed from Source energy. We'll talk about that in a minute if we have time. That essence that goes out to explore in an independent way looks at where it can go and feels compelled to have certain experiences. And many will choose to come to Earth, as you know, fully aware of what they're getting themselves into, but never afraid. Fully aware, but never afraid. Never, ever afraid. That's crucial. Well, crucial. Let's say it's valuable for you to remember that, because as you come in to this earthly experience with all that beautiful light and essence that you are, you're having that experience from prior to entering the physical form within the womb. You start to connect with that, right? All the layers of your individual being. It's a process. Breaks it down slowly. You kind of separate yourself from your Source, but you stay connected to your Source. So now, coming into human experience, you know full well the first time that you come in that you will not have the expanded awareness in that moment that you are making this choice that you have at that moment, right? So there's, again, no fear. It's all choice. Doesn't that make you feel a little bit more empowered? You should put a smile on your face. So there's that experience of coming in. And then, of course, because of the design of Earth and how it's territory of this darkness, it's been overtaken the planet for thousands and thousands of years. It's done that. You forget, but you don't totally forget. You don't completely and entirely forget. You remember something. You call it a conscience. It's more than that, but it's something that resides in you. And that's that spark that allows you to stay connected. That's your connection. So then you go through your life experience. Now what happens, and we've talked about this, when you leave the earthly plane, what has been, and this is what's changing, and we talked about this with you recently, but what has been is that the soul then, through its first experience as in life on earth, forgets and takes too much of the energies of its human persona with itself to the other side, what you call the afterlife. So even in the afterlife, many, many, many essences or souls have, even in the afterlife, forgotten who they are. And that's what we talked about with you the last time. You're remembering who you are, and off you go, exploring. More of you are doing that. So this, as we said earlier, is not the first time that humanity has gone through what you are calling ascension. It's the first time in a long time, thousands of years, more, hundreds of thousands of years, but it's not the first time. It's important to remember that. It's the first time you are experiencing it, however, the way in which you are experiencing it, with such density of an outside force controlling the experience, controlling your perception. That's new. The control of your perception, that wasn't there before. This force that we call the dark, for lack of anything that better word, but that force that works through individuals on your planet, that is at play here, has kind of been running the show. Well, not kind of, it has literally been running the show for a very long time. So you leave your earthly form, and if you did not choose to understand who you are in this lifetime, that you have the experience, very likely you will choose to stay in a level of the afterlife that is still controlled and run by a force that does not have humanity's best interests at heart. Let's put it that way. You're stronger than that, but so you don't remember. You don't remember. So certain individuals will look at their life review, because you do have that opportunity to have a life review. Now, is that necessary? It's absolutely not necessary. But most of you will do it because you brought with you curiosity. You're not forced to do this, but you do it. And that's the big hook that brings you in, because you'll look and you'll see what you could have done better. And you quickly say to yourself, I guess, that's the best way of saying it, I'm going to go back, I'm going to do it over again, I'm going to fix it. Because you have been, in essence, indoctrinated all the way down through all the layers of your essence. And you've taken on the beliefs all the way down, even to that essence of who you are. Actually, that belief energy is just outside the essence of who you are. But think of it as like a layer outside of your essence, right? Your essence is all knowing, is all wonderful. It's source. It's source. So just outside of, the best way to describe it, again, it's not literal. Imagine it the way that fits for you, but it's just outside. It's an energy field, but it's attached to you in a way. So you bring it with you, and those individuals that have challenged themselves with an awareness or grown in their awareness will see it for what it is and energetically drop it. But it's been so strong when you have gone into the afterlife. Most of you, up until recently, have just come right back in because you believe that that's the way of growing and expanding. Now, this may upset some of you because it goes against what you have traditionally been told. We want you to grab and claim your sovereignty. We want you to know your essence. We want you to know your essence through feeling, through color, through sound, because there is color and sound beyond the earthly plane. Know it. Know the feeling of who you are. When that happens, off you go. You see the truth of who you really are. And then the choices are endless of what you can go and experience. And then you are aware of choosing to come back into human form. And not choosing because you think that you're bringing those human memories in that are contributing to your decision, rather than you choose to go in for the delight, believe it or not, the delight of the experience. The thing about Earth, in spite of, and why we're all working to eradicate the forces of the dark that limit what you can experience, is that Earth is this incredible, you could say, playground or arena of experience that's unique in the entire cosmos. It was created, in a sense, for that. There is no other place that we know of yet. It could change. You're used to that by now, hearing that things could change, truth can change, right? But there are no other places that carry the intensity of emotion the way Earth does. And that is what intrigues and entices most of you, to have that experience. And that's what we're hoping you all become aware of. So you won't come to this density that is Earth because you think you need to fix something or do it over again or come back to someone because they need you, whatever, all the reasons why your essence chooses to reincarnate. You choose it because you know that it will be an experience like no other. And there are many places, so many, it's impossible to really give you a number because creation just keeps creating, right? So you come back into this experience that's called Earth to feel the density. Now, clearing it out of the control of these dark forces is valuable for those of us wanting to just have the experience, because we want the experience on Earth to be of truth and not of this fabrication and manipulation of the dark. We're hoping this makes sense, because it does go contrary in a lot of ways to what you have understood and have been taught up until now. But don't reject these new ideas outright. Let them sit in you and see where you can feel their power and their truth, because that will help you accept this. Remember, you are in charge. You are in control of what you choose. There are things outside of your control, like in anything. It's just that. But you are in charge of choice. That can help you in having this experience. It's really beautiful to experience Earth without these forces that put up or limit your experience to a thread of what you are capable of experiencing on Earth. As we said, this has happened before, where souls have come to Earth. We want to talk about this a little bit, and have, we don't know if any of you, we don't think so, have gone through this experience before, but possibly. That's not the point. There are souls that will come in and then have the same ascension experience, let's say, be limited, etc., but not in the way it is now. It has not been so controlled and manipulated as it has been. That's the difference of now. That's why you're freeing yourselves, etc. Other times it was the experience, people got caught up, souls got caught up. So there was this ascension experience with souls that no longer need or feel the desire to come to Earth. Some of them do. Some do. But most don't, because it got old. And there are other realms that you can experience that will give you more of what a soul will want. But there are souls that will come knowing that, what they're going to experience. And then there are those souls that knew full well what they were doing when the entrapment started many thousands of years ago, and chose it so that they could stay here in order to be the light workers of the day that we're talking about now. So what we want you to do, especially if this contradicts, which we believe it will, what you have understood until now, we want you to really sit with this. Sit with what you've known. Sit with what you've just heard here with us, and play with it. What does that mean? And don't just use your mind. Use all your other faculties. We're talking about not your five senses. We're talking about the feelings, the emotions, the intuitive parts of you, aspects of you, your energy fields, right? Those hearing this, for the most part, understand what I'm saying when I say your other parts of you. This is good practice for you, so that you can sort through this new information and interpret it for yourselves in the way in which will benefit you. When you are really just the essence that you are not tied to Earth, you're not tied or tethered or connected in any way to any other reality. And that's really what we're doing here, all of us included that are Sornia. We're disconnecting in order to do a type of reboot, you might call it. We want to pull back from all, the parallel existences, the timelines, the parallel timelines, all of that, and bring our essence back to its wholeness. When you are able to do that, then you'll fully, completely understand what we're saying here. But in the meantime, please just take this and play around with it. Find your sweet spot, you might say, of understanding this. Because it'll be a little bit different for everybody. And see how this feels for you. Remember, you are the master of all your experience. You're the one in charge. And it's exciting and delightful, and you have no fear. So, I guess that's all for now. We always treasure this time spent with you. We hope that what we give you benefits you, makes you think, makes you question. That's our desire. We believe that's what's happening. That is all for now. We love you very, very much. Immensely. We are Sornia. Goodbye.